not much. This is not my subject matter. And for me, the same, Hispanic or Jewish or somebody who came from Europe or from any other place, including Africa. I'm talking about Americans, those who believe in the American dream, those who believe in life, in liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All these are Americans for me, regardless of the color of the skin or anything else. It's not my business. I'm talking about people who believe in the American dream versus those who believe in Allah's world. And this is the issue. I really have nothing to say about skin or anything else, or wherever you came from. Once a person comes to this country in order to become an American, for me is an American.
The second thing is, from a political theory standpoint, America's platform seems to be to want to suggest that states should be democratic. But as we see in the Palestinian territories, you give them a democratic state and they vote into Hamas. So what is your comment about this? What is best for us to deal with this kind of platform?
First of all, democracy, I would describe democracy as kind of a cake with many ingredients. Human rights, political freedoms, minority rights, freedoms of women, freedom of religion, freedom from religion, freedom of speech, assembly, all these rights which people have in democratic societies. All these ingredients of this cake, I would say, create a severe allergy in Islamic societies. What do we mean by freedom of women? That a woman should start choosing their spouses? Since when? In Islam, the father is marrying his daughter off when she is 12 or 13, or even before, because Aisha, Prophet Muhammad's last wife, was married to him when she was 6. Okay? So maybe 12. Freedom of women to behave the way they want. They bring shame on the family. Okay? Definitely. Things, what we believe is democracy, are either totally or partially totally unacceptable by Islamic societies. This is why I always say you cannot take something which was developed in Europe based on the European history and European experience, to take this and to implant it into other societies. I'll give you a very small example. If you own, let's say, a Chevrolet, and you have a problem, will you go to a Nissan garage? Maybe if you miss some air in the wheels. This is maximum. More than this, you will go to Nissan. No, you'll go to Chevrolet. You'll never go to another garage. So if we understand this, that a Chevrolet doesn't fit the knowledge, the equipment, the experience of people in Nissan, definitely the knowledge, the experience which the Europeans have, can it fit other societies which never went through the same history, the same processes, the same mindset? What caused people to think that everyone wants democracy as we understand it here in this blessed country? Definitely.
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment.
Yes.
I want to make a comment and then I want to ask a question. I'm going to make a comment and then I'm going to ask a question. The comment is that I don't see Islam ever change because they're praying 5 times a day and worshiping old culture and old the tribal mentality. And so I don't see how they're going to change. That's my comment.
Well, about changes in Islam. First of all, Islam today in its 15th century. Today the year is 1420 something, 30 something in the Hijri calendar. How did Europe look in the 15th century? Okay, so when they come to the 21st, maybe they will look better. Secondly, maybe the processes will regarding Islam faster than Europe because of mass media. Because those mass media, with printing actually, in Europe, which led the changes in Europe. Look, Europe is printing all the way from 1520. The 20s of the 16th century, the first printing machine was invented in Venice. Okay, the first printing machine which came to the Arab world was in 1802. 1802, 300 years almost, it took to a printing machine to cross the Mediterranean. Although you can cross the Mediterranean in 3 days. Okay? So, okay, today they have print, they have radio, they have television, they have internet, they have everything. Maybe the processes will be quicker than in Europe. So let's say in 200 years, if I shrink the 500 years of Europe to 200 years, maybe it will be better. But somebody once said that the hope for Islam will come when the Islamic Martin Luther will be born. Means the one who will question the core beliefs of Islam and will challenge the clergy. Actually, this is what the Reformation, in a nutshell, did in Europe. So when the Islamic Martin Luther will be born, the change inside Islam might occur. There are some modern Muslims, yet they don't have any divisions behind them to protect them and to promote them. Yes, lady?
I don't know if you've seen the movie The Gatekeepers, but my question is, how can 6 of supposedly the most intelligent and brightest of Israel, who are head of the Shin Bet, these are people that are, should be like rabbis in their thinking and so smart. How can they give interviews and take the time to look back on their life from a perspective that gives our enemies so much additional fuel with which to hate us and destroy us?
I have no explanation. Look, sometimes I really don't know, because I don't know them. Maybe one I know more closely, but I don't know all of them personally. I didn't work with them personally. But look, sometimes heads of Shin Bet and of Mossad are being too much politicized. The friction with politicians is too frequent. And they might adopt from the politicians all kinds of ideas because they start thinking like a politician. And they stop thinking like somebody who has to take care of the security of the state of Israel. I have no other explanation, and I really don't know what happens with them. And I know that there is some kind of a movie which recently was released about this. I didn't watch. Okay. Anything which will bash Israel will have Academy Award. So this is not surprising. Yet, I really don't know what causes them to talk in such a way. Maybe it's a kind of subject for research. I'm talking seriously.
How tired do you find the United States? What I mean by that, I was listening to the radio about the formation of a new Israeli government and what conflicts it might have with the United States, just before I came over here. And the CBS reporter, talking about Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu, said that the conflict would be with Iran, and the problem was Israeli saber rattling. That what you would have is Netanyahu doing Israeli saber rattling. And it sounded to me very much like Churchill in the 1930s talking about Hitler, and the British simply did not want to listen, did not want to have that conflict. how do you find the American morale, the American will, and especially with this president, the American backbone to say, not just stand up to Iran, but stand up to an awful lot that you've been talking about in the Muslim world?
Well, when you talk about Iran and the United States of America, you have always to bear in mind that Iran is one of the main suppliers of China, of oil and gas especially, and China is the one who holds the American treasury in its pocket. Okay? You know, once there was a movie, Cabaret, you might remember it, and Liza Minnelli, or maybe Joel Grey there, saying, money makes the world go around. Remember that? So, okay, it's Joel Grey who sings then, money makes the world go around. So here the connection, Iran, China, the American treasury. Everything else is commentary. Yes, lady.
I'd like to know a little more about your background, how you know Arabic so well. And I want to say that I think you're a Gibor because I saw the tape of you on Al-Jazeera. And I also wonder, where was that film, the portion that when you were on Al-Jazeera, were you in an Arabic country?
My background, I was born in a family which spoke Yiddish. Both my parents came from Poland before the war. This is why I'm here. Otherwise, I would not be here, because their families who remained in Poland, my father's family went to Treblinka, and my mother's family went to Chelmno. So since they came to Eretz Israel before the war, I'm here to tell the tale. About what you say, Gibor, I totally refused to be depicted as a Gibor. I am a servant of the Jewish people. I do what I have to do because I know. Everyone who knows to do something should do it. If you know how to sit near your keyboard and send a letter to the senator or to the representative in the House of Representatives, you should do it. If you can publish something, you should do it. Everyone should take part in this war. Nobody is exempt from taking part. And today, with the internet, everybody can do something, to publish a paper, to send some email, to publish a letter to the editor, letter to the congressman. This is what everybody should do, and I do my part because I know what to do. Yes? The film about Jerusalem, this was in June 1st, 2008, Yom Yerushalayim, and the Olmert government decided to build some hundreds of apartments in Har Choma and in Pisgat Ze'ev, two neighborhoods of Israel, of Jewish neighborhoods in East Jerusalem. So the jihadi channel Al-Jazeera, which I really don't know why they are why they have the permission to work from inside Israel. I really do not know. I always call upon the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to kick them out, or to force them to have an Israeli comment on everything which is heard about Israel. And this is Israel's right. You want to work here, you listen to us as well. You cannot air things against us without our position. And believe me, if the Ministry of Foreign Affairs would kick them out for one day, they will crawl again, and they will agree to any condition. Why? Israel gives them 40% of their news. Because they are concentrated on Israel, because they want to show Israel as the problem of the Middle East, not Algeria, and not Yemen, and not Syria, and not Egypt, not Libya. No, only Israel is the problem, because they want to divert the Arab world from the wealth of the Gulf. Because in Egypt, as you know, 30 million people live in unplanned neighborhoods. You know what this is? This is boxes which are around the city, boxes. In this hall, you can fill it like with 10 of them, at least. And in every box, there is a father, 3 or 4 wives, 16 or 20 children, and those 4 wives have a child every year, and they live in these boxes without water, without running water, without sewage, without electricity, without telephone, without internet, without anything. Just live in bar bashetach, like this outside from the city, and like 30 million people in Egypt. Now, Gamal Abdel Nasser, one of the slogans which made him into a very popular man was, of course, the war against Israel. But he had another one, which everybody loved. Naft el-Arab lil-Arab. Means the oil of the Arabs to the Arabs. Means that the Gulf oil should not remain in the pockets, or the money should not remain in the pockets of the sheikhs in the Gulf, like Abu Dhabi, Dubai, no, Dubai doesn't have, Kuwait, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. They should distribute all the money to all the Arabs, including Egypt. Naft al-Arab lil-Arab. So because they saw him as a threat, because of this, they came to here to seek protection from America, all those Gulf Emirates. So until today, America protects them. This is the connection between those in America. Because Gamal Abdel Nasser, and they still remember this slogan, Naft al-Arab lil-Arab. This is why Al-Jazeera never shows what happens in Qatar. They don't show the Qatari economy. They don't show the skyscrapers with the helicopter pads on them, because every house has a helicopter, because those tenants in those houses, they don't want to stand in the traffic when they go abroad to take like half an hour to the airport, so they prefer to fly 5 minutes to the airport rather than driving half an hour. Okay, so this is why they have, okay, so the wealth in the Gulf is not shown in Al Jazeera. Never they show anything about Qatar, because they want to divert the looks of the Arab world, the sick and the unemployed, the impoverished Arab world, to Israel and to America and to against the others. They invite us, Israelis, in order to abuse us, in order to relate to us as punching bags. Unfortunately, when Israelis do not speak Arabic, or they are not confident enough, and they don't know the facts, and they don't know how to dama le'ashiv le'apikores, you don't know how to answer somebody who is against you, unfortunately they succeed. In my case, the bag punches back. But this is the whole thing. Yes, sir.
Can you talk and elaborate on what you were saying with Muslim, Islamic immigration to the United States posing a threat to American I don't think I understood you well.
Please read what I wrote. It's in clear English. It was published, Google 3 words, you will find it immediately. Kedar, K-E-D-A-R. The second word is Yerushalmi, Y-E-R-U-S-H-A-L-M-I, the co-author. And M-E-Q, Middle East Quarterly. This was the periodical which published this article. The minute you put these words without brackets, separate words, you'll find this article immediately. I can show you. I didn't put my computer booklets which are disseminated in mosques in this country, like 40 hadith about Islam, about jihad. 40 hadith about jihad. Now you know what jihad is. Jihad is not how to kill the flies. Okay? And this is in English, disseminated in this country against the infidels. So who are the infidels? The Red Indians. Okay? This is one book which I can give you the book which we collected here. Second book is under the title, What Should You Do When You Are Caught or Framed by the Racist, Fascist, Criminal FBI, or by the Racist, Fascist, Criminal CIA, or by the Racist, Fascist, Criminal Police. This was written by some Mustafa Abdul Rahman and is published by Al-Rahman Publications, New York. I don't believe anything of this, but never mind. But the book is actually a handbook to somebody how to resist and how to stand in front of interrogations when he is caught by the racist, fascist, criminal CIA, FBI, or police. And this is disseminated in mosques of this country, especially designed for Muslims. So if this is not homegrown jihad, I don't know what homegrown jihad is. Yes, sir.
Is there any hope, in your opinion, for Western media ever covering Israel in a more fair light?
Yes, there is a hope. When the universities where those media people learn will start teach the real things. But unfortunately, universities, especially in this state, are totally diverted in favor of those who do not believe in anything which those universities teach, like democracy, human rights, and political freedoms, especially women's freedoms. Yes, sir.
I really want to thank you. You've been most enlightening, and I
Thank
think
you.
everybody's enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I'm going to limit it to just two easy questions. Khaled Abu Toma has written about the
Good friend of mine.
third intifada. I want to know what your feelings were about the accuracy or the possibility. That's the first
Third, okay. Third intifada will erupt sometime, nobody knows when, like a volcano. The first intifada erupted because of a road accident, which if this road accident did not occur, could be that the first intifada would not be, and the second would be the first. So I really don't know. I don't have information. What I do have is feelings. What happened in the Arab world during the last 2 years, I think today deters the Palestinians to a large extent from shaking the boat with Israel. Because they understand, they won't say it, because it's some kind of admitting something which they don't like to admit. But they feel that being occupied, even if we agree that they are occupied by the Israelis, is way much better than to live under the Syrian regime, Jordanian regime, Egyptian regime, or even the Palestinian regime. How do I know this? How do I know this? You might know that the Arabs in Jerusalem, since 1967, were given the choice to become Israeli citizens or to be Israeli residents. Residents means they live in Jerusalem, they vote for the municipality, yet they are not citizens, and they do not vote for the Knesset. So this is the difference between residents who vote only for the municipality and citizens who vote also for the Knesset because they have Israeli ID. For the whole 40-something years, most of them remained residents and they did not ask citizenship. During the last year and a half, thousands are lining in the Ministry of Interior to seek and to ask citizenship. Why? What happened? Jerusalemites, yes we can, so they ask. So why do they ask? They feel that if there will be a Palestinian state and they will be part of the Palestinian state, what will happen in this Palestinian state is what happens today in Syria. Because Syria, I want to elaborate this because this will need me to come again. What is the problem in Syria? Look, I know a little bit about Syria because my PhD was written about Syria. And my first book was about Syria. So I do have, by the way, the name of the book is Assad in Search of Legitimacy. The subtitle is Message and Rhetoric in the Syrian Press under Hafez and Bashar. Assad in Search of Legitimacy. In the end of 2011, like a year ago, when the death toll of the problems in Syria was something around 10,000 people, the Secretary of State in this country, Hillary Clinton, declared one day that Assad is losing his legitimacy. Losing his legitimacy? Since when did he have? How can you lose something which you never had? Apparently she didn't read my book. And it is in English. And believe me, it's not such hard English. Everybody can understand it. And if she needs, all the quotations are in Arabic and in English together. If she doesn't believe the translation, she can read it in Arabic if she knows any Arabic. So definitely, she doesn't get it. That regimes in the Middle East have no legitimacy when it comes to the public. The same is the PLO in the West Bank. This is why those Jerusalemites prefer to live under Israeli occupation rather than live under the Palestinian liberty. Why? Ask them. They will tell you exactly. This is why I'm not sure that Intifada will be there. Because if Israel let all the Arabs in the West Bank to become Israeli citizens, they will line up also near the Israeli Ministry of Interior. Yes?
It's a harder question. There's a rumor going around that there was a huge explosion in the Fordo plant in Iran. Do you know anything about that?
The explosion in Fordo happened in the 24th of January, as much as I remember. Could be? No. A bit earlier. Yes. I have a great alibi. I was here. This is as much as I can say about this explosion. Whether it was domestic, whether it was from outside, I have no idea. However, in Iran, you guys are not maybe aware of this. There is an organization of some people who is fighting for freedom from the Iranians. These are the Baluchis. The Baluchis are a different ethnic group. Look, Iran is a conglomerate of 6 or more ethnic groups. Persians, who are not even half, less than half. Azeris, Kurds, Arabs, Baluchis, Turkmens. These are the main ethnic groups in Iran. The Baluchis in the south are Sunnis, are not even Shiis. And they are fighting viciously for independence. They have an organization named Jundullah, in Arabic means the army of Allah. And they are vicious fighters, and almost every day they blow up an Iranian tank or an armored personnel carrier or something else. Once they blew up a train, which half of it was carrying oil and the other half ammunition. Crazy Iranians, that's how they take oil, crude oil, and ammunition. The Baluchis knew about this, and they blew up this train. It was a few years ago. The American satellites, which tried to intercept all kinds of atomic activity, thought that this is some kind of an atomic explosion because it was so big. The sound, people could hear it 70 kilometers from the place. It devastated the whole town. The whole town was burnt, the town where the train was standing, because of this blast. And those who made this blast was the Jundullah of the Baluchis. I will not be surprised if there was an explosion in Fordo, Jundullah performed. Maybe encouraged by others, maybe. But those who actually, the contractors who did it, could very possibly be the Baluchis. Moti, go.
Just now, this is a comment about the jihad, right? Obama's administration, or Obama, nominated the new guy to the CIA, and his name is Brennan. He just had a speech about how holy his jihad is. I don't know if you heard about it, how good and holy it is, and I think that Obama's taking us to a direction
well, there are, look, in Islam there is a sect which is called the Sufis. Sufis could be compared to little extent, to spiritual groups in other religions. Maybe there are some similarities between Sufis and some Kabbalistic groups in Judaism and some spiritual groups within Christians. I don't really know, but definitely there are more about the connection between man and Allah. They don't deal with politics, they don't deal with anything connected to public issues. They are, their slogan is Hasbi Rabbi, means all I have is my Lord. I have nothing but Allah. I know nothing about government. I don't push my nose into any public issues. This is not my business. They actually detach themselves from the earthly issues and they elevate themselves to some kind of spiritual creatures that all they have is Allah. They detach to Allah and they know nothing else. For them, jihad is actually against the Satan who always try to seduce them to earthly life, to food, good housing, women, men, all these things which are the earthly issues, which they try to detach themselves and to become only spiritual. So their jihad is constant against the Satan, which is al-waswas, the one who always tips them into her eyes. Oh, this is a nice thing. Oh, this is good food. Ah, this is a nice lady. Okay, all these earthly things, and they actually are in a constant jihad against this Satan. Okay? If you adopt their ideas, your jihad is a good jihad against the Satan. Apparently, what Brennan spoke, if he talked about a jihad, how good it is, I would give him the benefit of the doubt that he meant this kind of jihad. And you know what? I'll join him. Yes?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for coming. It's been very enlightening, very
My pleasure and honor.
Everything that you told us about, as far as viewing the Arab world and the Mideast, is, fascinating and rings very true. How do you translate that into today's situation with what they call, quote unquote, Israeli-Palestinian conflict, as far as where this can go and where it can end up? The politicians talk about the two-state solution, yada yada, pulled out of Gaza. Where, from your standpoint, would be the appropriate path to take? Well,
let me calm you down. Very few Israelis today believe in a two-state solution. From both sides of the aisle. Because of very simple reason. We saw exactly what happened in Gaza. Gaza became a Hamastan. No Israeli, neither from the right nor from the left, want to see another Hamastan in Judea and Samaria. No one. Really, regardless of your political approach, nobody wants to see another Hamastan. This is more than clear. Even Uri Avneri, him from the far extreme left, does not want to see another Hamas state in the West Bank or in Judea and Samaria. This is one thing. Second thing is that everybody knows that nobody can prevent a Palestinian state from becoming a Hamas state. Because Hamas already, in 2006, in January, they won in the elections 70% of the seats of the Palestinian Authority's Legislative Council. And in June 2007, they took Gaza over by coup d'etat. So either by force or by elections, the Palestinian state might very possibly turn into another Hamastan. And nobody in the world will come, from those who advocate this two-state solution, nobody will come then to chase Hamas out. So everybody today who advocates the two-state solution has to take in account the two-state solution will be Israel and another Hamastan after we have already one Hamastan in Gaza. This is the meaning of two-state solution. And most of the Israelis today understand it. It infiltrated into their heads. So now the question is, what the solution? Many today, you won't believe, talk about, or there are some those who talk about one-state solution. Means that all the arrangements which the Jewish population have with the Arab population inside Israel, that's in Nazareth, Al-Fahim and so forth, and we don't go to live in Al-Fahim, you're right, will be implemented also in Hebron, in Shechem, Jenin, Kalkilia, Tulkarem, Yericho, and Bethlehem, Ramallah. The same arrangements. There are those who advocate it. Yet, there are many who oppose it, mainly because of demography. But there is another solution, which you can read very easily in a website, the name website, PalestinianEmirates.com. I highly recommend. This is my website. A friend, PalestinianEmirates.com. No dot, no nothing. PalestinianEmirates.com. A friend of mine from Venice, Florida, arranged this and made this website. I gave him all the data. He made it into a website. I have no idea how to make a website. You cannot teach old dog new tricks. So he arranged it. There you can see, I think, the only solution which can work on the ground. A Palestinian state, first of all, already exists in Gaza. Whether we like it or not like it, we love it, we don't love it, this is a state, because something with borders, with government, with legislative body, with judicial system, with police, with army, with military industry, they know how to produce missiles, with its economy, political relations with states. The Emir of Qatar visited there, and Nabil al-Arabi, the head of the Arab League, visited there. So, if something looks like a state, quacks like a state, and walks like a state, it is a state, whether we like it or not. So Gaza is already the first Palestinian state. Another one should be in Ramallah for the tribe of the Barghoutis, tribalism, alive and kicking. Another one in Jericho for the Arikats. Another one in Shechem, Nablus, for the three tribes who lived there for centuries together, Al-Masri, Tukan, and Shaka. Another one for the tribes, clans of Jenin, of Tulkarem, Kalkilia, and the Arab part of Hebron, with the 5 tribes over there, Jabri, Abu Snena, Kawasmi, Natche, Tamimi, the main clans. They already have a king in Hebron. Sheikh Farid al-Jabri, somebody who really controls the city. And these are the 7 emirates which I recommend to establish on the West Bank or Judean Samaria. Israel should forever remain in the rural areas where 100% of the Itnachaluyot are, to make sure that these mountains will never turn into Hamas mountains, and the hills will never turn into Hezbollah hills. And this is the balance between demography and geography. Israel liberates some 90% of the Arabs in the West Bank, who are the citizens of these Emirates, will be the citizens of these Emirates, while Israel keeps some more than 90% of the land for itself. This is, in my view, the best balance between geography, demography, politics, and stability. And there are small states in the world. Look, the only paradigm of state which prevails in the Arab world are the Arab Emirates in the Gulf, not because of the oil. Iraq has much more oil, and Iraq is a mayhem. Libya is oil, and Libya is a hell. The same with Yemen and Sudan. Oil does not contribute to stability. What makes the stability in the Gulf is the fact that every state, like Kuwait, Qatar, Dubai, Bahrain, Fujairah, Ras Al Khaimah, all those Emirates, and I exclude Bahrain, all these Emirates are one single tribe. Means all of them, each of them is one single tribe. And when the society is homogeneous, the politics function and the economy is flourishing. When the society is fragmented, as it is in Iraq, in Syria, in Sudan, in Yemen, political arena cannot function, and economy